That was exciting.
Hello.
I love that opener. You know, I figured we'd get fancy for this fantastic episode we have coming up on live streaming and video. Folks, if you're tuning in or watching this in replay, you cannot get three people who are more excited and have more experience in live streaming than me and that guy and that guy, okay? So I'm Mia Voss. That is Ammon Johns over to the side of me. And that's Jeff Bond with Inspect.com. He's not only a member, he's the club president, right, Jeff?
Always having fun.
Exactly. So we are on episode 8.
Yeah.
We have 2 more to go. Live streaming and video, how you can incorporate it into your business. So we're going to jump in. You guys excited?
Oh, yeah.
Super important.
It is super, super important now more than ever. It always has been. Now, I started live streaming in 2013. Back in the Google Plus YouTube days. Ammon, what about you? When did you start using video and live streaming
Well,
brand?
Unlike you, I obviously wasn't a teen star. But I actually studied video when I first left school. My first job was as a video technician, print and video and audio and all kinds of stuff like that. So I messed around with professional studio setups quite early. It wasn't until 10 years ago, though, that it really became viable for the web, for everybody. The equipment cost has come so far down.
Sure. What a great point. And you guys will jump into that. But you're right, Ammon. You had the technical background. I just more kind of rolled in with my camera on YouTube. It was like, hey, let's start a show, kids. And then Jeff, you've got your experience with Google Glass. I mean, we're all old hats at this.
Yeah, that and Helpouts was a great platform. It was very similar to the early stage of people coming and requesting help. So Home Advisor was there, Home Depot was there, Sears was there. I was there with Inspect.net, and I had a great experience. Learned a lot about customer service as it relates to video, and learning that the customer comes with a need, and it's important to get to that.
Yep, it's the show me business. I'll tell you what, and even more now. So we were just talking about in the green room. This is the broadcast tower for everyone now, which means that it's super glutted, which means you need to put out good quality stuff. But we can just end broadcast. There you go. Just do good stuff. Put out good stuff. Let me pull up our live streaming thing. You guys ready to jump into it?
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. And all three of us are going to have a lot to say on this, but our overview is why, when, how to use video, and the advanced use of video. That's going to be really fun to dive into that. So guys, let's get into it.
Okay, so yeah, let's start off with why, and we can probably kick this off with, why did you use it, Mia? Why did you use it, Jeff? What was your reasoning for using video?
Mine was storytelling. So I loved that when I would meet other people and just hear their really cool story, I'm like, man, I want to share that. So kind of an age-old thing that's really, really taken over. But that was my reasoning. What about you, Jeff?
I wanted to learn something, actually. I went to video looking for knowledge. I had things I wanted to really learn. So it was rich media, and it was so much more special and quick, especially than reading long text as the internet used to be. So it's just like I went to it for a resource, looking to gain from it.
Mine was it's the combination of the two is show me and tell me. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a story. They can show you that, tell you the story, and then it's show me. And then this fact right here that we've got on the slide, YouTube is the real biggest search engine, right?
Yeah, and this is the thing that drove me. I've done video, and video is great within content, but live streaming, I didn't think that, I am as interesting to watch as PewDiePie. People aren't going to tune into the kind of shows I'm going to do the way they're going to tune into live streaming of games and all the excitement of that. But what was interesting is the way you can engage with people in real time, record that exact moment and that exact feeling, and still have that transmissible to others after the fact.
And there's something about that, especially the live streaming like we used to do in our Google Plus days, which really was so unique. Rest in peace, Google Plus. You know, and it had its bells and whistles, but it was the feeling of it had such an authenticity feeling to it. So it was, you know, a form of reality TV in a way.
Yeah. So let me jump on the point that a few people may question: is YouTube really the biggest search engine? And the answer is, surprisingly, yes, it is. Partly it's the amount of time that people spend on it. You'll search on Google for, you know, maybe an hour or so as you're doing some research, and intermittently, you know, so it'll be a few minutes here and a few minutes there. Whereas I know people who spend an entire evening surfing through YouTube, searching for all their favorite artists and pop songs, and make their own, you know, playlist as they go along.
Right.
I know people who browse through tutorial after tutorial to learn a new piece of software or a new guitar technique or a new dance move. So people really do spend a lot of the time there. And then bear in mind that more and more Google try and include a YouTube result in their search results. So you've still got most of the Google search on top of that actual YouTube native search. So yeah, by far, it's the biggest search engine when you combine the two different ways of getting there.
And it all loops in together so well, especially if you've got your YouTube channel set up and then you do the next suggested video, which is always so great. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, when you're watching a series and it just says on Netflix, do you want to watch the next one? But it's gonna go ahead and queue up that next one, and so you do fall down. I mean, it's the biggest rabbit hole in the world.
Yeah, and you know, the whole YouTube has experts working a way to make people want to spend more time and see more videos. And if your channel has more videos for them that are going to suit them, that's going to be appealing, YouTube are actively promoting that and actively trying to send people there.
Yeah, and kind of covers both branches. You know, some people may want to more do the logical search along the website, and then other people might want to branch over into the video. So the idea is definitely cover both of those bases, and make sure you have content that kind of talks to both, because you don't want to lose audience in either direction they choose to pick and go.
Yeah, absolutely. And make good use of text when you're uploading your video, when you're setting up your description. Make sure that, you know, the links to your homepage are there, that links to anything you cite in the video is there. You know, cover all those bases. Make sure it's really rich media.
It's almost like a little mini landing page.
Yeah.
Each of your videos, which I love this point here. So next point, video is easy to produce, but I think it's the hardest thing for people to get started on, don't you think?
Yeah, people are resistant. Let's face it, most of us hate the sound of our own voice, and most of us aren't that keen on how we look on video. You know, it's not how we'd like to be seen. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to get over. I get past it because people aren't here to look at how pretty I am. They're here to hear what I've got to say, and I need to
say that's right.
Get out of my own vanity and just concentrate on the message, because that's what people want.
Well, specifically in building inspection and home inspection. Now, I've been doing some research on that, and there's a couple folks that have been recommended to me. And, you know, these aren't pretty folks that are doing that. I mean, it doesn't, you know, the looks piece should not impair you or impair you from getting onto camera, because it's more about the information.
Yeah.
Specifically for home inspectors. And it's kind of fun, you guys, just like I've said before in other shows, and we'll get into that with social media next week. But, you know, the fact that this is something where you wouldn't think, you know, it's games, it's, the young kids, it's influencers, it's all these things. But if you're going to come on there and put some really cool, fun information, like I'm seeing in videos on Instagram, man, it's a wild, wild west out there to start putting things out there for home inspectors.
Yeah. Once upon a time, the game streams ruled it all. Before that, it was actually comedy. It was the early comedy shows that people did that were the first really big hits. But now, most of it is the infotainment. There are so many infotainment channels out there that a lot of people say that's where the real money is now.
I think you can actually turn your home, put home inspection quality video out there that is infotainment, right? I mean, you can.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be dry. It doesn't have to be boring. It definitely has to be informative and succinct, and not a time waster.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, think of your market the way we've been talking about all through this series. You know, if you want to work with sellers who may have to fix the things that you find in your inspection, doing a series on craftsmen and what's involved in making fixes that are often needed and repairing the flaws you often find, that's gold to them. That really is, because you can help them get it done right at the right price.
And if you have been watching all of this series, you're going to see this is a running theme of providing content, providing service, providing recommendations to other people if it's not a fit for you. That has to be a running theme in your business as well, even of just putting out these short, friendly, helpful videos of where to go to next. What's the best, what's the best brand? What really cool place that you saw the best resource in your area for supplies, for repair items.
You should just get through it too, because as you interface with people all the time and talk to them, realtors and buyers and sellers. So it's not like you're on stage, or you're not, as you already are. The idea is just getting over, you're just not wanting to see yourself do that, but people are watching you every single day talk and communicate, and they already understand that they like it. It gets shown by like your business, that you're doing business. They care about it. So present that and add the value, and it's really kind of encouraging to see how much just by providing that discovery, you get connections and you get business from it.
And another thing I've been thinking about too, you guys, is that this is actually safer in the time of COVID right now. It's so tough to impart your message. A lot of times for us as inspectors, we could go out, we could kind of sit around and shoot the what on the standing out. Now it's harder to hear. We have our masks, we're standing further apart. It's harder to hear people. But if you can put these videos out now too, think about that. I mean, that's a really easy way to get your message out safely.
And as well as that, people are spending more time watching YouTube right now because there's so little else to do for a lot of people. So again, it really ties into this time. I would also say, let's jump to that third point, that the fact that video is easily reusable. You can embed it into other stuff. You can put it into your social media posts. You can put it on your Facebook and on your tweets. You can use it inside an article. You can link to other videos within your video. YouTube lets you have the clickable link so that people can see a previous or related video in context during that stream. So make sure you remember that, because that's where the real strength lies as well.
Can I remember one thing too also is if I do remember right, is the idea is try to house that on your website, and then have everything that like your social, your YouTube and your Facebook and your Instagram actually go and kind of grab it from your website. Let your website serve as the house repository. True?
That's often exactly the case, because that way you're the best place for any article is on your website, and then you link to it from other places, or you cite paragraphs in other places that you send to your site, because your site is your brand that you're trying to build up. This is your commercial property, and you want the value to go there.
That is your real estate. So, and it's something we cannot impress upon everyone enough of. That is your real estate. Get everything going back there, circling out, then it comes back out. That fun little magic, juicy goodness.
So even if you do use Instagram as your main platform, is augment that by having a good website that allows that to be housed, and let the two support each other. Is really, for me, the message should always be, is have a website and then use all these other tools to augment and assist what you do and help grow, but title back and foundation wise to your website.
Yeah, the main thing with the website is it's always a solid investment. It is a business property that you own. And it has value. Whereas, if you get listed on Yelp, that's great. What if Yelp one day goes under? Where's all those years gone? Where's that presence, all those reviews going to leave you? It's gone. Whereas your website, you own that. You always own that.
You do. Let me get in a quick Yelp rant. Jeff's heard me do this before, and we've talked about this too. And then there are also Yelp is guilty of it. There's suppression of content, and they have that ability to suppress that reviews, any of the good stuff if they thought somebody had come in. So don't be a victim to that. You're right. Like just what if Yelp goes away? We always go back to Vine, and there are folks who are just making a ton of money on Vine, and any of these things can go away. And we'll cover a lot of that next week as well. But yeah. So that is a valid point. So now,
and one of the best things to do is to duplicate the best of your reviews on other platforms over to your website, citing where it's from.
yes.
Because that way you've got the best of both worlds. You've got that built up.
Little FYI, that's what I love about being listed also at Inspect.com. Because all my reviews got pulled over there now. And then I also have my website through Inspect.com as well for TMC services. So I know it can seem overwhelming to folks, but a lot of this, once you get those processes set into place, it's really, really easy to do. And again, with YouTube too, it can be easy to do. We'll cover this next week on social media, but you can also, like you were saying, like embed from your website over onto Facebook, because at times also, don't forget, Facebook can also suppress a lot of that. I know sometimes for myself, I'll post links on YouTube over on Facebook, and it doesn't do as well, rather than just a photo and then the link to YouTube too. So there's all kinds of workarounds. But again, putting that on your website, that's the business, right, guys?
Yeah. Always
Definitely.
capitalize on every aspect of it that you can. Get the value going through all of your properties and see where it sticks.
I have to say, out of all the things that have come and gone, I'd say YouTube is the one that would be the last to get kicked out of that party.
It's not going anywhere.
A lot of creators have a lot of problems with YouTube. As you know, the monetization has gone through the floor. So anyone who was using it as a monetary platform, it's already really hit them hard at times. And YouTube, it can. Your competitor can choose to promote their video based on people looking at your ads, your video, your channel. So bear in mind that people can use YouTube to snipe as well as for you to drive traffic.
Exactly. But the most important thing too, and we're going to jump into that too, is creating the video that is unique. That's going to keep them watching and coming back to it too. They want to see what are you up to next, right?
Yeah, but if you have good content and you create it, the video, and you get the value out of it, and you use it for another purpose already, there's at that point no harm in just housing it over on YouTube as well for discovery. You should house it on YouTube.
Yes.
Keep a copy, but house it on YouTube, because your links to it on YouTube, and every time you embed a YouTube video, is a signal to the algorithm that is a good video, both on YouTube and in Google search results when it's pulling out videos.
That's right.
And coupled with the fact that you're not really at that point like a creator that needs to justify the money and making it there, is you're just utilizing the platform and the algorithm to get the value out of how it treats that content, but you've already monetized it and realized your return just for using it for something else. So try to find your useful content and use it that way to leverage it.
Yeah, we're not talking about influencers who want to make money opening packages and cats on Aruba and things like that.
Yeah, different.
We're talking about using the platform for discoverability for your content, not to make a bunch of money on click through, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. And that brings us on to our next part, really. When to use video. What's the point of video over other forms of content? And this is one I know that, Jeff, you asked me this yourself once, because where does that distinction come? When is it better to write an article? When is it better to do a podcast or something like that? And obviously the first answer is the really obvious one, but it's so true. When the content is visual.
Okay.
When the content is going to be suitable to video, then that's when to use video. If this is something people have to keep referring back to, if we were writing an instruction manual Don't do that in a video. Do it in text, because it's easier for people to bookmark, to come back to places, to find their paragraph again. Video is tricky to search through. Anyone who's had to timestamp videos knows how much of a chore that is.
Yeah.
I say, keep videos to bite-sized chunks is usually best. It's okay to go up to an hour if it's a really in-depth thing that people are going to want to sit through an hour. 30 minutes is sometimes better. 20 minutes is sometimes even better still. That's when it's a good segment length. It's a bit like podcasting. Podcasting is usually best 10 to 20 minutes.
I think there's a good sign to that too. When you see the link, now if you're looking at, let's say, an interview or a panel format where there are several people that are going to have a lot to say, then that's great, and you get into that. It's fantastic. But you're right. If it's something over 10 to 20 minutes, when I see that signals to me that someone doesn't know how to edit, or either edit their video or edit themselves, and then I'm going to have to dig through a lot of detritus, detritus, garbage to get to what I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see the 1 minute videos. Really, it's like it sure seems like Google wants those 1 minute or under videos too. So maybe is part of their emphasis is to make sure that we understand is just get to the point, have a specific point, get to it, don't let it drift all over the place, and make your point and move on. And then if you really want to have a larger discussion, you can start to just integrate some of those 1 minute videos into a playlist that can talk to a bigger theme. But is 20-minute videos for me is just, I can't get through them. They need to be quick. 3-5 minutes is I don't know how you plan and map that out though, Emin, and how do you take an idea and parse it down into smaller little segments and assemble all that? That's
sometimes what you do is you create the footage, you take as much footage as you need to feel you have everything, and then you go through and you edit afterwards. You pull out the really rich stuff that stands alone. Something a friend of mine called Scott used to call nuggets, that you're mining through all of the ore to pull out those little nuggets that are really valuable. And it's fine to have a show like this where we've got a detailed panel discussion, but ideally you then pick out small subparts of the conversation that deal with a specific point, and you break them off as a separate video that links back to the main one, and you're covered in all bases then.
Little teaser moment for everybody. We are actually having the same gentleman, Scott, the Scott treatment, is putting all of these videos into little bite-sized teaser moments. So you'll be seeing those too, and seeing exactly what Ammon is talking about to see it in person. It's somebody that we're pretty excited to see that, because he is pulling that out again, like little, would you like to know more? And then that goes into the video. So we're excited to be using that too for marketing this particular product.
right. So maybe as a home inspector, you're looking at a deck or a balcony type of configuration with an elevated platform and rails, and you're starting to see a lot of construction defects, like the ledger board is not well fastened to the house and lag bolted, and the whole thing could just kind of pull away from the house. Or the stairs are very poorly built, and they're steep, and they're crooked, and they're small, and they're trip hazards, and there's no rails, and or it is, it doesn't have diagonal bracing, so as you could lean and it's like dominoes. I'm wondering, hearing you say, I'm going to maybe kind of just document all that video, and then possibly even break it down, whereas you talk about like a topic is talking about how a ledger board should be fastened properly to the house, and another video might be about diagonal bracing to make sure that the structure, and even maybe another third video might be about like stairs, and just kind of capture all that video as best you think you can, and then you can kind of work to edit it later.
Exactly. Once you've got the footage, you can take as much time as you like to get just the pieces that are really useful. And sometimes you'll find things you hadn't thought were going to be in there until you watch the replay.
So guys, that is the big difference between what we're discussing right now, the difference between video and live streaming, because live streaming is going to be documenting that going along. Now for my brand, that's mainly what I do, is just kind of take people along in real time using live streaming. And there's so many different ways to do that now, which is fantastic. Obviously, you can use your phone. You can use this platform that we love, which is called StreamYard. There's Zoom that you can go live on. You can go live on Twitter. You can go live on YouTube itself. too. So you have the you don't have the ability to control the situation, but if it's something like, oh, I want to see what's happening right now, live streaming is perfect for that.
Yeah. Live streaming is just one of those ones that once you've got the equipment, you own the equipment, you're ready to go almost any time you want to. It's really good for doing that instant engagement. And if you're starting to build a following or a community, then live stream is fantastic for really pulling that together.
Yep, the Q&A, you're right, the engagement, the Act Now, obviously Periscope, and Periscope and rest in peace Meerkat were the first for that, when you could actually like for concerts and things like that. That was fantastic for creating FOMO in some senses, right? Like that. Now tell me how jealous you are.
It's very
it doesn't necessarily happen with home inspecting. Oh, you're under a house. Good for you. Glad I'm not there, right? But people are fascinated by seeing that. Jeff, you've done that before. It's pretty fun. We get a little worried sometimes, but when you're like, oh, what's Jeff doing now?
if it's highly visual.
It is.
Yeah, and don't forget the things that really trigger people as well. You find a huge spider's nest. You film that thing, because that will be shared like you would not believe, mostly by people still having nightmares about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a home inspector crawling under a house in Oakland. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It
The
happens.
video we saw of the inspector filming the mouse, dead mummified mouse filing. You just, unless you're really pratfalling and setting that up, you just can't make that type of stuff up too. So, and we also have face to face. Is that your better skill, or when is it a presentation?
Yeah. So face to face, this is one of the times when, look, if you're really good at doing business face to face, then video is probably one of your better forms of content. There's a lot of people who are better at face to face than they are with written stuff. So why be knocking yourself out trying to do too much written stuff, too many articles, if video is going to be the better format for the way you work and the way your mind works?
Yes, and the better way to get that message out. I always say I'm an excellent reader, and I'm just the worst writer. I mean, I just don't enjoy it, and I don't get the message out there as quickly as I can of saying, hey guys, here's what's going on. Now you can always go back when that video, again, it's almost like a blog post. You can have your show notes, you can have the timestamp of it. So that creates the story as well, but absolutely a face-to-face. But I do encourage, and I know all of you guys all do as well, of just try it. You've got to try it. Even if you just setting your phone camera up and videoing yourself it's painful. Don't get me wrong, but it's good to see how you do.
But the connections are very real, and
Yes.
the way that they interact with the people that do watch them, the 6 or 7 or 8 people, is it develops a real kind of a bond there, and it's something that's hard to kind of quantify, but it really develops a deeper sense of kind of a connection.
And it's not hard to build an audience up into the hundreds at all.
No.
It really isn't.
But again, it is being yourself, because all three of us have seen it, being in this world for as long as we have, of the folks that are, I mean, I even suffered from it myself in the very beginning of doing live stream, was just trying to fit into this box, and boy, it didn't work. And I had to infuse my humor into it. That was the piece for me. And you can also infuse your very dry, taciturn attitude into it. And people are going to tune in for that. Look at the grumpy person they're going to give me the information. They're not going to sugarcoat it. So be okay with that. Be okay with finding that specific voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, Grumpy Cat was the most famous cat in the world for a while.
Thank you. Right? Was he smiling for the folks? No, not a dang bit. Not a bit. He wasn't. Good point. I love that. And when is it a presentation?
Yeah, when it's a presentation, again, that's perfect video content. So explaining how things work is like you would to a person is really great. That kind of stuff, especially tutorials, does really well on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, how to? That is when you're like, how do I? Of course, some people search for weird stuff, but it is a how-to of. And for home inspectors, I just can't think of a better medium than showing people on video, and we see it all the time. Again, we'll speak about this next week, social media, but we just see like what not to do almost
Yeah.
in video.
And again, we've talked about the fact that certain neighborhoods will have certain things that you may take for granted, but not everyone does. Maybe you've got a part of town which is old Victorian style architecture, and some of those properties still have old sash windows, which most people would look at today and just, no idea how to be dealing with it. So one on how to fix sash windows or what they need to be aware of when examining whether sash windows are in good condition or not. That's great content for somebody who's got that problem, and that can be all over the world. But certainly, that it's got a built-in market in your area because that's where you filmed it.
That's where you filmed it. And then, don't be afraid to niche down on that, because it does seem like, okay, who's going to be searching for that? But then you start looking that up. Such a great piece of advice, Ammon, on that, because it can be, they're still out there. Yep. There's a lid for every pot.
Oh, yeah.
I have a 30-second video on a mobile home skylight, and is I get like little one-offs on how to how to stop a mobile home skylight from leaking, or fixing leaking mobile home skylights. And it all drives back to this one article, coming back to that Evergreen, is people come at it from 1,000 different directions, but they just know they have a skylight, they know they have a mobile home, and they know it's leaking, they want to fix it. And they all kind of like from different tangents come and arrive at this video, and it actually answers their question nicely. And so it seems like it adds value too. 30-second video. 30 seconds.
Remember what we've said before about, people who are possible repeat customers for you can be people who fix up properties for a living. Mm-hmm. They sell multiple properties. Every couple of years, they're selling 3 properties. And talk to these people, do a segment where you're looking at various extensions on houses, different videos you've done over time. You're talking about the different kinds of roofs used and what were the advantages of this one over that one, what kept their value, what was more difficult, what requires more maintenance. That kind of stuff can, again, be gold to some of these people who can be your best repeat customers.
Another great point to make, too, is start looking at videos that are viral. Now, of course, there are videos that are viral that are people who have millions of followers, but I've seen videos that are viral that are somebody who has 15 followers or people that are subscribed to them, but they found that one thing. They found that window set. They found, and you know what I mean? You'll see if that's something that's of value. You look it up. They don't have anything else, maybe that somebody else has looked at, but there's that one video. They hit that niche. They hit that sweet spot, and they answered a question, or they created a need for something.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So don't feel like you're going to have to just hit the jackpot on everything. Just put that content out there that you can answer.
Well, especially if you put the content out and then it just comes into the future, all of a sudden that it's important. Like, is you're writing an article about mobile home leveling and earthquake stability and safety, and people are just kind of reading and grabbing, and then 3 years later there is an earthquake, and all of a sudden the information is of major value, and you've already talked to it for 3 years, and so there's already an awareness of that article, and all of a sudden it just gets grabbed on as like just a real complete authoritative source. So is back to that Evergreen concept, is be writing that and let part of like your Evergreen content be video. Have that as part of your strategy.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to follow up. Another thing we talked about before was areas that are prone to tornadoes or earthquakes or tsunamis or whatever. Yeah. Go through. When you've had one of those go through, do some video that shows the aftermath, shows the damage, what can be done about it. And again, you've got content that will come up again and again and again, because those storms will be coming in future, and people will be looking at what they can do to prevent that kind of damage, and you're able to show them exactly what that damage looks like and what should have been done beforehand to prevent it.
Specifically when it comes to homes, guys, where we've said this before, like right now I'm in Colorado and we have some fires going on. We do in California as well. Then we've had storms come through. We've had hurricanes come. We're coming up on hurricane season. So specific to your area, whatever those things that tend to happen, we're actually getting ready to have a snowstorm tomorrow. And today it's 95, folks. So global warming, I do believe it's possibly a real thing, especially here. But just pay attention to that. And then as a home inspector, you could really nail that market down with a good, it doesn't have to be well-produced video, just great content. Don't worry about it being like back in the day of like how Ammon has his really cool studio going on back there.
No, you're so right though, Mia.
Sound is crucial though, folks. That is the one thing though. If you're going to be filming outside, got to get like those nice, so you can get an external mic for that. So more than anything, would you guys agree that sound is more crucial than video?
Yes, but you can do a surprising amount by simply concentrating on how you speak rather than just the mic. Make sure there's no background noise that's going to drown you out. But apart from that, there's so much you can do just with a mobile phone, the built-in mic, the built-in camera, if you take your time to be clear.
True. And also flipping back and forth between front-facing camera and rear-facing camera, there is a difference. We're getting in the weeds a little bit. We just want to give some good practical tips that you don't know that. So try things out as well before you happen upon something, because if it's not something that's going to be staged, you want to be ready to have your camera out and film some cool stuff that again could be used for your content, right? That could go viral just because you may have caught some kind of weird water spout thing, like, hey, look at how this thing is coming towards the building. So, be ready to film and be ready and know what your capabilities are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uniquely positioned, a very important role with a very lot of access. So there's lots of opportunities for things to happen that provide good value, and it could be a plumbing leak or an electrical item, and there's always a lesson to be learned and then a consequence that can be avoided that together make for very compelling stories. So it's definitely use that video, just like you're saying. Everything I'm hearing here from everyone's making tons of sense to me, and I'm already kind of busy.
We're going
playbook.
Totally. We're going a little longer than usual because this is something that all three of us have quite a bit of experience in. So this is our final point, is how to use video.
Penultimate point. We've still got some advanced tips after this, but
that's right.
On location or in situ, this is one of the great things about video. Look, I can write an article and I can tell you about being somewhere, but I'm sat at home actually writing it. Whereas the video gives you the feeling of being there, of being part of it. You're talking about a parade. No, you're at the parade. You're showing it. I can hear it. You're talking about the damage of the storm. You're walking through it. I can see it all around you. So that's a really powerful piece of video content that you do not get in writing.
Amen. Preach that. You're on locations, what that should say, or in situation. Absolutely. And again, being ready to video, knowing what your capabilities are, and you're not missing it. Oh my gosh, you don't want to be kicking yourself for missing that. Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And, moving on from that, the idea of the social media live streams, if you're starting to build a following, capitalize on that by rewarding people who are following you with some exclusive content. And social media live streams are a great way of doing that. And following up from that, Q&A sessions, they're really, really powerful. If you've got a group of people that keep asking certain questions, put it up on video format as well, because a lot of that is the kind of questions that people ask in search, and often Google doesn't have a full set of a full set of media for it. It's got articles that mention it, but when a video comes up that answers that exact question, there's a really good chance of getting into those results.
Yes, and that's also something you can use if you are in a group or have created a group too, where you can put that video up there in the Q&A if you want it to be, like you're saying, rewarding your viewers. I love the idea too of just having a theme for the week, and that can be the live stream. Like, hey guys, what's up? It's Jeff. Here's this week we ran across grout problems, and here's how to make sure that your grout is sealed. So especially if it's behind a backsplash in a cooking area, so you can create these theme-based live streams that people will want to come back to.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And you're uniquely positioned where you can capture that content. And constantly presented with opportunities to see new content that like is just another example of it in another situation, or just reveals a whole nother different component about that same problem. Is so, yeah, uniquely positioned. You see a lot. There's a lot of opportunity to create some very good video content based on exposed a lot of good content.
And then, Amit, do you think it's a good idea too, if you're doing like a Facebook live stream and then you can teaser that, say, hey, if you'd like more content, go over to my YouTube channel or subscribe here, you'll get notifications, which I love. YouTube does give you, if somebody is subscribed to your channel, they'll get notifications that you put out new content.
Yeah, they've got to sign up separately for the notifications, but once they have, it goes straight through to Windows as the Windows notifications. So,
Right, you can subscribe,
really
right? But then you do have to then
subscribe and hit the bell icon, as they always say.
That is the standard line on any YouTube channel, so use it. It's open to everybody. Yeah, subscribe and like and subscribe, absolutely, which is fantastic. So yes, we have the advanced. Get ready for it. Now he's really going to bust out the good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So
like the good booze, you know.
Within articles and blogs, this is so important. Use a video you've created as the seed to create longer content. Or if you've already created an article, see if there's something you could illustrate in it with video rather than just an image, and then embed that video into the article. As we said earlier, when Google finds that article and it finds the embedded piece of video, it knows that video is more important. It makes that video show up more often on YouTube, and it means that that video is more likely to show up in search results related to those terms as well. So don't forget to embed this. It makes your written article much more multimedia, much more rich media. Kind of like a lot of the news channels these days are embedding the video news with a written article. So they've got both formats of the thing there, often with a bit more background information that wasn't in the 2 minutes of video they've put up. But it really works. It hits all those bases. So use that technique.
That is something I actually have used with my Google, with my my travel blog. Is I create like a nice little teaser video that shows all the places that I went, and that sits at the top, and that's a YouTube, but it's a YouTube that I embed at the top of my blog.
Yeah. And you can remember back in the days on Google Plus, how those event stream comments would really light up. If you've embedded a video into your page and you've got your blog comments open, your blog comments can be keeping track of that conversation, keeping that engagement going. If you've embedded it into social media, the social media comments are able to enhance and enliven that debate long after the video's finished.
Oh man, I missed it. You know, you're singing my tune. It's so easy, and it does seem overwhelming. So don't get overwhelmed. Just start with one video and go slowly on that, and then you can just start playing with it, and it will really be it can be really addictive to see like, oh gosh, that did great. Now let me put this over here, and you get so excited about that, especially when people respond.
First win.
Yeah,
so good.
I'll tell you. Oh, we've got Anna here. Yep, ring that bell, sis. That's right. Good to see you, Anna. With embedded videos, try to have videos be YouTube or Vimeo, so a newcomer can watch on YouTube, and then they can sub right after that. You got that right, sister. That
Totally.
one also knows.
Super tip.
That is super tip in the video world. So that's awesome. And then we have search result sniping.
I like this.
Yeah. Now this one is. This is pure guerrilla marketing. There are lots of searches that drive traffic to your business, that you've heard people say, that's how they found you on Google. There's tons of things where there is no video embedded. There is no video in those search results. And Google like to put a video in the search results the same as they like to have, some image searches stuff there. They like the multimedia. So sometimes that is telling you of easy content where you could create a video and instantly get page one coverage for that term. Right. Not on all things. There are some things where it knows that written content is preferred, whether people are looking for, reviews of home inspectors, that's going to go through to a listing type site most of the time. Remember what we said about home inspectors, because it's plural, lets them know you actually want a category, not a single inspector. And it's similar, again, it won't show you video on everything, but anything where video is suitable. This is an unexplored means of content, and just having the right title for your video can get you a ton of free advertising on Google to your video, which in turn is advertising you, your business, and your website, because we embedded those links.
At that point, that's just straight, just getting your name out in front of a random audience that's a straight numbers exposure game. But like, you could sure make that like scale, couldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's magic right there.
We kind of mentioned before, that there's a lot of property areas where people regularly search for new properties to buy, and very rarely is there a video walkthrough of that area, what it's like. What's the walk or drive to school like? Where's the nearest coffee shop? What's that bagel shop on the corner like? Do a little tour of a neighborhood that a lot of people move into. And all those, that's getting you known to people who are going to be buying a property in there and may need an inspector to check out this house they're thinking of buying. And again, the realtors who are already listed there and are looking through those results to see where they rank, suddenly up pops your video.
I see your name.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, this helpful guy. That's what they're saying. Look at this guy. And it makes a good point too about YouTube. Watch time is the goal over there. Absolutely. And that is one thing too. When you start getting into doing videos, go back and look at your videos again. I know, guys, it's hard to watch yourself, but you can literally watch that drop off. You can watch that in your live streams of what's getting people peaked and when they drop off, and you can really start watching the patterns of that too. And it's saying, whoa, she's good to having a bunch of videos on your topic is useful too. So YouTube can suggest more videos for those to watch. Yes, we mentioned that. And that is a great reminder of it as well. And then I'm going to throw one more thing in here. Don't video and drive. Ever.
Not even at speed, Mia?
No, not a bit.
And so never video a race of any kind then?
Yeah, I'm going to go with it's just a bad idea. And that is that's my Mamma Mia piece of advice here too. Because if I see you driving, I'm going to hang up on your channel. I like that. And it sets a bad precedent, and it's dangerous. And it's dumb. Yes.
Last thing for me this week, I remember Jeff had a really good thing that he wanted to talk about. I just can't remember for the life of me what it was. No,
couldn't have been that kid.
I have actually forgotten it now.
Now we're going to hang up and you're going to totally remember what.
Yeah, it's one of the questions he asked me when we were actually talking about doing this show, and it's completely slipped my mind.
What did you say, Jeff?
I had it 2 minutes ago.
Jeff? You know what? I got that exciting point about, and Anna just, I'll put it up here again. It can wait. Absolutely. Honestly, and I don't even I'm going to keep talking, and Emma, you're going to remember it. When I do car reviews for my
I'm not.
You're like, I say the coolest stuff all the time. I cannot recall all this.
That's where we're at. So cool. I just get lost in the stream of cool.
Totally. Oh, here it goes. There it is. I knew it was coming. What is
Jeff asked whether to have multiple channels and how to use playlists.
Yes.
Right.
You did say that.
How did you forget that this was an important question, Jeff?
One channel, multiple playlists.
He just forgot himself.
He did. Yeah. He did.
One channel, multiple playlists. Look, if this is about you and your business and your brand, it's one identity. Separate playlists for different content types of you, but your channel, you want those playlists to be driving that to the same place, your channel.
Yes. Yeah. Because the confused mind is confused.
The only time you want to separate, the only time you want to separate with a separate channel is where you don't want those viewers connecting you with this thing, because they're completely opposites and it would detract from the message.
That's right. And that's, I love that. Make yourself findable. Absolutely. And that is, and I do the same thing. There have a ton of people that I love on YouTube, and I just go to their lists and see, okay, what's the one where they're going to talk about this particular topic? Or there could be with the ones where the interview, it's just they themselves doing a soliloquy, their own little personal rant. Other ones where they're out on the road and I've decided this is what I want to see.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And get past 100 subs, you can get your custom handle. Absolutely. Yeah. Unless you're Jeff Bond, who has been on YouTube forever and got Inspect.com himself. But that is a great, and not everybody's cool enough to be Jeff Bond. So let's go with Anna's piece of advice to get past 100 subs. Absolutely. So much fun to it. Guys, that was amazing. You know, we knew we were going to get crazy on this because we all had something to say about this. So next week, coming up, episode 9, we have social media marketing, which is going to be a really, really good roll in right from today, because a lot of this is what you can be sharing on there too. So of course, Instagram, we're going to be covering all that good stuff. Yeah. So if you are a home inspector and you're watching this and you want to get listed, go to Inspect.com. Like Jeff and I are, just saying, we've got our businesses over there. It is a free listing right now. And then Jeff, you're also offering websites now, yes?
Yep. Glad to do that. Is also have had like communications with a couple inspectors saying that they're getting inspections just from being discovered, and just saying thank you. And I'm glad to hear that. It just says that the message is right and that the process is working. So congratulations to all.
That is awesome. Anna, thank you for putting that note in there about Owen as well. There's a ton of great resources out there. So we are well connected with folks who will do the work for you too. So feel free to comment below, and we will see you next week. Right, guys?
Yep. Looking forward to it.
And then we have 2 more after this. Is that correct? We do. I know. We're winding down. And if you look in the show notes here, also, we have all of the episodes that you can go see too. So I'm going to close it out with our fun video because you know how much I love it. Thanks, everybody. See you later.